The campfire crackled. Flames danced in the darkness, casting long, eerie shadows among the trees. 5 friends huddled closer, their faces lit by the flickering firelight. They were deep in Blackwood Forest, miles from civilization. The air was thick with the smell of pine needles and damp earth. A chorus of crickets chirped, their song occasionally punctuated by the distant hoot of an owl.
Tell us another story.
Yeah, a scary one.
The others, Ben, Chloe and Mark, nodded in agreement. They loved gathering around the campfire, sharing spooky stories that sent shivers down their spines. Tonight, it was Ben's turn. He leaned forward, a mischievous glint in his eyes.
This one is about this very forest.
Ben's story was already sending chills down their spines. He spoke of an ancient evil that lurked within Blackwood Forest, preying on unsuspecting visitors. As he spoke, a strange feeling settled over the group. The air grew colder, and the cheerful chirping of the crickets seemed to fade. Suddenly, a whisper cut through the night. It seemed to come from the heart of the forest, barely audible above the crackling fire. The campers froze, their eyes darting nervously towards the darkness that pressed in around them.
Did you hear that?
They listened intently, their hearts pounding in their chests. The whisper came again, this time clearer. A voice like dry leaves rustling in the wind. Emily? Emily gasped. It was her name. Terror gripped Emily's heart. The whisper, soft yet insistent, seemed to pull at her, beckoning her into the darkness. She couldn't move, couldn't speak. Emily! The voice rasped again, closer now. As if in a trance, Emily rose to her feet and took a step towards the trees. The shadows seemed to reach out. Long, skeletal fingers pulling her into their embrace.
Emily, no.
Mark reached for her, but it was too late. Emily disappeared into the darkness, swallowed by the shadows. The forest held its breath, the only sound the crackling of the fire. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the silence returned. The campers sat frozen, their eyes wide with fear. Emily was gone. Hours passed. Dawn approached, painting the eastern sky with pale streaks of pink and orange. The campers, huddled together for comfort, hadn't moved from their spot. The terror of the night clung to them like a shroud. As the first rays of sunlight pierced the forest canopy, they decided to search for Emily. They didn't have to go far. Just beyond the circle of charred earth where the campfire had burned, they found something lying on the forest floor. It was Emily's backpack. It lay open, its contents scattered around it, and beside it a piece of her shirt, ripped and torn. Long, deep scratches marred the nearby trees, the bark peeled back as if clawed by some monstrous beast. One by one, each of the remaining campers heard their name whispered on the wind. Each time, the voice grew stronger, more insistent, and each time, the unfortunate soul who heard their name called was drawn into the darkness, disappearing without a trace.
Only Mark remained. He sat huddled beneath a towering oak, his body trembling, his eyes wide with terror. He could hear them now, whispering all around him, the voices of his friends, their tones pleading, desperate.
Then, through the gloom, he saw them. Shadowy figures, their eyes glowing with an eerie light, their arms outstretched towards him. He could hear them calling his name, their voices a chorus of whispers that sent shivers down his spine.
"Join us, Mark," they hissed.
Mark screamed, a desperate primal cry that echoed through the silent forest. But his cries were swallowed by the trees, his fear a feast for the darkness. The whispers grew louder, closer, until they were all he could hear. And then, silence. The forest stood still, the air thick with the scent of pine and something else, something ancient and evil. The whispers were gone, replaced by an eerie stillness that was somehow more terrifying. But it wouldn't be silent for long. Soon, new campers would arrive, drawn to the beauty of Blackwood Forest, and the whispers would begin again, calling their names, luring them into the darkness. The cycle would continue. The forest awaited,